Now is 8:43.
Want to introduce you now to Will Perry. You'll know him. Last summer he made his Paralympic debut at the Tokyo Games. Brilliant. We know what support we gave to all the athletes at the Games last year. However, when Will came home, slightly different story. Will, morning.
Morning.
To you. Good to have you with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I suppose the first thing in a way we should say is you are a Paralympian. You know, there you are, proudly wearing the shirt that you earned by your achievements, and that presumably was a wonderful time for you.
Oh, it was incredible. I can never put it into words. It's the most special time in my life. It's just such a celebration of disability and inclusion.
What were your events? How did you do?
I was a swimmer. I did the 100 breaststroke, 200 medley, 4x50 relay, and 100 freestyle. I made one final with the relay team, which was fantastic, and I believe I had top 20 finishes in all my other races, which was more than I could have hoped for.
Brilliant. So you overachieved in your
Yeah, I was very happy with my
Excellent.
achievements.
And the reason we're highlighting your achievements, absolutely right, is that this is a wonderful time, and then you come back home. And there is a sequence of events that you think you just can't keep to yourself. And you want to make public to do with how people respond to you. Now, what we've suggested is, I know you tweeted quite a bit about this at the time, what we've suggested is that these are your words, and we thought maybe you would read out some of the tweets you put out, because people will understand the sentiment behind them. So if you're happy to do that,
Yep.
that's what we'll do.
Yes, very happy.
Okay, go ahead. I know you've got some of the words there.
So, 9 times out of 10, when I go into public, I can take the abuse, laughter, staring, etc. But when you have those bad days and all you want to do is just get some food at your local supermarket and go home to relax, that is something that is just not possible for myself and others like me. Yeah, it's...
Are you OK reading these out, Will?
Yeah, you know, when I wrote this, I was really angry.
I'm not surprised.
I had a really bad day. I just wanted to relax, and you know, then you have events where I get laughed at.
Well, you explain what happened. You said I'd had one of those days tonight when going into the shop.
So
yeah.
I had one of those days tonight when going into the shop. 3 girls, probably around 16 years old, just burst out laughing. Whispering isn't hard to hear. One was nearly in hysterics.
Laughing at you?
Yeah. It's a very common occurrence.
And then you talk about how it made you feel.
To be honest, I wanted to cry. There are so many occasions where I'm just consistently reminded that to some, my presence in life is just a joke. Me living life to some is actually hilarious. Why should this be?
So what you've done, and I'll say it for anyone watching you now, is, number one, I think you've done an incredibly brave, bold thing by calling it out, which is, you know, lots of people say those things, they don't do it. You know, we've all been in those positions where you think you should say something. You've done that thing. You've called it out, loud and proud. Where are you now? I mean, is it feeling any better to get it out there, to say it, so that people can know more about how it makes you feel?
The really fantastic thing that I've got, the reaction, is knowing how many people are standing by me. It's a really good reminder that this is a minority of the public. The great majority stand behind me. I think it's really good to educate them. There's so many people who are innocent, but they just don't know that this is happening.
Education's key,
So, yes,
isn't it?
exactly.
Which is what the Paralympics were all about.
Exactly, but it's a shame we can only do that once every 4 years. The other 3 years, we're pretty irrelevant. So I think it's great that I've seen so many people backing my cause, so many people messaging me in support, saying they'll call others out, they understand. Parents with people with my disability message in saying, I'm really worried about my child when they grow up, what can I do? And all I can say at the moment is, I'm sorry, there is nothing we can do. I'm trying my hardest to fight it, but at the moment, we've got to stand together and fight this cause.
How do you do that? If you, I'm sorry, it feels quite hopeless when you say you've got to say to parents who are worried about their children, there's nothing we can do.
It's really tough because I've got no one to look and follow, and this is what they did to try and combat it. I've looked and looked and looked. There's not much. There's so many people who've...
In terms of role models?
Like, obviously, there's lots of role models with my condition. You know, Ellie Simmons, Peter Dinklage. There's so many people to look up to, but not in fighting this public abuse that we get. So it's quite difficult in terms of offering advice because I'm learning as well. I'm learning, okay, maybe we need to do this to get everyone together, or at the moment it's spreading the word that seems to work, getting this out there, getting people talking about it. I think that's probably the thing that's working the most, but I need a long-term solution.
Tell me, Will, what do you do in practice? I mean, you said that was written on a particularly bad day. In practice, when something like that happens, maybe you hear voices, I don't know, you hear voices off. It's probably not, I don't know, you tell me, it's probably rarely done sort of explicitly, maybe it is. Maybe you just hear conversations or whatever. So, what do you do? How do you react?
So, in honesty, that wasn't actually a bad day, as in terms of the incident. It can be a lot worse than that. I've been filmed, I've been photographed, I've been shouted at, so that's actually pretty mild. But most of the time, I'm being brought up really well to take it on the chin, take it on the shoulder, because I've been told that, you know, we can't change it. This is the way you've just got to live. You've got to be strong. And obviously, I want to be strong, and I think I am. But I shouldn't have to be. I shouldn't have to take this on the chin or the shoulder. I go through enough difficulties in life as it is with my dwarfism. I've got to, you know, modify my car. I can't reach stuff, and there are people who've got the condition far worse more than me. So we shouldn't have to have this extra strength to go out in public to face this public abuse. We should just be able to blend in.
Do you know, there's the phrase, isn't there, when you saw with Black Lives Matter and you saw with loads of conversations about racism, that it is not enough to say you are not racist. You need to be anti-racist.
Exactly.
And it is exactly the same thing. Tell me if I'm overstepping the mark here, but it is not enough to just kind of go, tut, 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 shouldn't say things like that, shouldn't use those words. Now it is about friends, allies, calling people out as well.
Exactly, it's about standing together. We've come so far on Black Lives Matter, on religion, on everything so far, and this is something we've missed out on. And this is just one of these issues that we need to back. Everyone needs to stand together on it, because when the whole public gets behind it, everyone realises, oh, this is really not acceptable. We didn't realise this is happening. This is something that we really need to back. These people are...
Well, can I ask you something? I hope this doesn't sound insensitive, but I think it's at the heart of what you're talking about. Someone today is out, out with their kids, and they see you, and children often, unwittingly, I mean, I suppose you have to say in a way they're the ones who are least guilty in all of this, have a curiosity because you look different. How is that made better in terms of you not feeling like something really wrong has happened in those situations, which an adult say to a child, as like one example?
So that happened when I was starting off this media campaign on this, where a reporter heard someone educate their child. And one thing I always say is that it's okay for children to be curious, because I'm sure when I was 6, 7 years old, I would have been looking at other people with disabilities curious. I'm not exempt from it. I was a child as well. So curiosity, that's fine, because they're children. But, when it's adults, when it's people, teenagers, come on, grow up. And if they're making a joke, we've all heard it before. You're not funny. You're not original. So it's okay, for children to be curious, because I want to educate. That's the age where their brain's like a sponge. They're absorbing information. They're absorbing all these things. And that's the age where we need to educate them. So if their parents ask me, can you just explain to my son or daughter, why you're like this, I'm more than happy to. And sometimes they can do it, sometimes they've asked me to do it, and I'm more than happy. It doesn't offend me in the slightest. In fact, it makes me happy because they want to make a difference. That's brilliant. Really
interesting hearing from you today. Lovely
You're training
to see you
still?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, it's very, very tiring. I've had, 5 hours in the pool roughly yesterday. Got another
just making me feel really slovenly.
Another 4 or 5 to go before the weekend. We've got trials in a month's time. We're really, really busy. So it's all guns blazing at the moment. Also firing.
5 hours. Excellent. Oh, well, that's what it takes to be a Paralympian, doesn't it? It's successful. Thank you so much, Will.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
8:53 is the time now. So